I recently had the opportunity to speak to Frank Palangi. Frank, tell me about some of the first music you ever remember listening to.
I'm a big fan of like horror films and stuff. So they had all this like, harder rock, rock music and metal and things like that. So I started listening to like, I guess some of them were like Marilyn Manson and Drowning Pool and, like Metallica and Ozzy and like all these different movie soundtracks. So I think that's where I started listening to what you would call, music, in the late 90s.
Tell us about some of the things you enjoy outside of music, Frank.
Definitely movies. I've always, since I was a kid and stuff, I always liked to make movies. And outside of music, I've always enjoyed, getting my friends together and trying to make something, and just going to the movies and watching movies. I mean, I'm not a video game nerd, but I do like to play video games too. And like summertime, I like to hang out by the lake. I like to relax. I've never did really any sports or anything like that, so I'm kind of a relaxed guy.
What are some of the ways you've used social media to connect with your fans?
So many different sites now, but a lot of it's through just messaging each fan and, connecting with them on all these sites and stuff. And depending on the site, you can give out kind of like a little bit different information. And like on Twitter, there's certain posts and stuff that I would do versus like Facebook where that, they have photo albums so people can go in and like, view the photos there. They're going to be there for a long time. And, certain things you do differently, but it's a lot of trial and error too. I mean, I've learned with marketing and stuff too, with like tagging and hashtags and the way you word stuff. And it's kind of hard to explain, but I've just picked some things up, along the way, talked to some people, and it's like a lifeline. That's what I tell everyone. I call it my lifeline.
Has it also helped you connect with other professionals or other musicians?
Besides my first one that I've ever worked with and musician, I've actually like contacted them through their website or through Facebook. I remember talking to Michael McManus, which he was in Saving Abel at the time, and I was like, I doubt this dude will message me back, but he did. We ended up working together. So it amazes me that they would even be on Facebook, chatting back to people, but it can happen.
Are you recording now?
Virginia to record with producer and guitarist from Daughtry, Brian Craddock. This summer I met them at a VIP meet and greet, and basically what happened is one of my fans won it. It was like a radio station giveaway, and it's not open to the public, so you had to win it. So she won it, and she invited me to come to it. So I met Chris and everybody else, gave them my music, talked to them for a few minutes. And Chris, he had to go because he was playing, they were playing a big venue, later that day. And Brian was hanging around at the sidewalk, so I got to go back up to him and make sure this guy remembers me. So I was talking to him a little bit and stuff, and he goes, I produce a lot of artists, and I got my own recording studio. We do a lot of stuff. So I actually, through my channels, after then, I waited a little bit and contacted him, and he really was digging the stuff. And he goes, we gotta work on something. He goes, whatever you want to work on. So he's been really good. We've had a couple meetings and stuff, and the song's called "Break These Chains." That's coming.
Is there anything you learned from recording your first EP that you wanted to make sure you worked on this time?
It's my awareness of how songs are recorded now. Like, if I went in and somebody was doing like a bad job before, I wouldn't notice because I didn't know how anything was recorded. Now it's like I could say, well, shouldn't you like double that guitar, or shouldn't we do this? Should we do that? It's a better sound to it. I'm just more aware of the whole experience and more at ease. I'm more like I could live in a studio every day, and the nerves and stuff aren't there, and it's just more of artistically too, I get more inspired now from it. But there's certain things to watch out for still, I guess. But it's all cool.
You do a lot of online performances. How has that helped you reach new fans?
To everything, and it's helped me to be aware of what's going on more in the world type thing, if you want to call it the world. But it's a chance to meet new people and new fans, and they get to see you get to see what they're doing, you exchange ideas, And even like with this, I mean, you're the one who introduced me to Google Plus, and I had no idea what it was. And now it's just kind of like, I'm doing different hangouts and advertising my music on different groups and getting different kinds of fans.
Frank, where do you see yourself long term? What are some of your goals?
Putting up for more national acts, possibly on one of their tours. I mean, getting signed would be nice, but really what would make me happy and plausible is team up with somebody who can do more marketing, who can actually take me to a different level. Like I'm at kind of in the middle point right now. I handle everything myself, and it's starting to get really hard, to get to that next level. And so I guess I'm looking for, promotionally at a different area, and, as far as touring and stuff, a different area. And I'd like 2 years from now, hopefully I'd like my name to be built up already, and I'd be able to do that.
Who are some of the bands that you've opened up for or had a chance to perform with?
Probably Three Doors Down. That concert was the best. It was just me and them. And I had, I think, like a 40-minute slot, and it was just one of the best experience. It was a sold-out show, and it was like at an amphitheater indoors. The place is actually shaped like an egg, believe it or not. It kind of looks like a big football, and they were nice. You had the backstage experience. I got paid pretty well, and they treated you well, and you had to wear the passes, you had to go up the elevators, you had to park in the parking lot where, people couldn't go into. That was cool, just kind of be thrown up there. I was like, this is what it would be if I went on a tour with an artist like that doing those type of shows. But then on the other hand, I opened up for like Powerman 5000 this year, and that's totally different. It's like there's no special treatment there. You just show up and you play, and you're waiting where all the other people are waiting, and you're like, well, excuse me, I got to get through here, and I got to start to tune up my guitars and stuff to play. And you look at you like, what the hell are you doing here?
You have a couple singles out now. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Past year I released 2 singles called Falling To and Hope. And Hope you actually get a free download through CD Baby, but I didn't release an EP this year. Like I have 2 previous EPs. Financially, and just kind of how busy I was, I wanted to release something. So those 2 singles, I guess, were it pretty much. And it's kind of a trend I noticed going on. A lot of artists will release just singles and stuff now after their records. But Hope is a real positive rock song. It's got a really strong message. And Falling To is one that I've been wanting to redo for years. Like it's one of the first songs I made up, but it sounds nothing like the song I made up. The only thing I kept was basically the chorus part. But I wanted to make it more of a hard rock tune, less of a ballad tune. And fans, the response from Hope has been awesome. Like everybody, they're just like, what a powerful song, message. They like each one of them like something different about it. And Falling To is, I released it in November, so it's still kind of fresh.
You seem to have a really good connection with a lot of your fans. How have you been able to do that?
It's, as I said before, it's like a lifeline. I mean, without the people on the internet, I don't know if I really would have fans. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's hard because every time I have a concert, I usually Facebook them and say, here's a concert. Do you want to come out? Then we usually talk back and forth. And, it just helps so much. Like the artists that don't really communicate maybe with their fans and they're just starting out and they're like, well, how come we got nobody liking our posts or nobody's really messaging them? I tell you, you got to message them first. And, I mean, don't force anybody if they don't want to, talk to you. But if they do, keep a good rapport with them because they're the ones that are going to buy your music. They're going to come out and see you. But they're going to follow you. They're going to like your posts.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this video and would like to help us improve the quality of our videos and help promote these indie musicians, please check us out on Patreon. I get asked all the time, why do I do what I do as far as helping musicians? And being someone